The Magicians podcast is brought to you in proud association with the Magic Circle, Alakazam Magic and Gigio.
And Russ said, "This is totally wrong." And I went, "I know, but I want a TV series."
Had a dream, I had a million. Now there's nothing dragging down me, yeah. 'Cause I don't push it all out the way. Destined to break in, I found my way in. Now ain't nobody gonna take it. 'Cause I don't push it more out the way.
Hello my friends, welcome to the Magicians podcast. My name is Richard Young, I am your host, welcome to the show. My guest this week is Wayne Dobson. We'll be getting to the interview later on, but while I have a moment here with you, I would love to ask you please to follow the podcast on Instagram. We are at the Magicians podcast. We have some really big names coming up on the podcast over the next few weeks as we move towards the end of the series, and Instagram will be the first place you find out about them. If you have 2 moments spare, I would really appreciate it if you review the podcast on iTunes. It helps our search engine ranking in the iTunes store. A little review, 5 stars obviously, would really help the Magicians podcast in the iTunes store. If you have a spare moment, go and do it right now. Okay, I think that's all the housekeeping. Let's check in with our great friend Alan Hudson and find out what's been going on in the world of magic this week. Alan Hudson, what's going on, my friend? How was your holiday? How was it?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, all right, Young. I'm back. Yeah, it was good actually. It was my friend's 40th birthday party. We went to Barcelona for a bit and scooted around on the electric scooters. That was excellent.
Brilliant.
And then we looked at some Game of Thrones stuff in Girona. And then we hired a villa, which is a bit like sort of Pablo Escobar type villa in the hills. 1 road in, massive villa, full of pool tables and football, table football games and stuff like that. And we had it all to ourselves. Yeah, it was amazing.
Can you tell, for the benefit of the listeners, can you please explain to them that amazing thing we discovered at your wedding in Crete a few years ago, the ball game?
The rules of the ball game are you have to get in the pool. It's an amazing game. You have to get in the pool and you have to get this little ball and you have to pass it between you and keep it up in the air, and you're only allowed 1 touch and see how many hits you can get. The world record.
It's not a little ball.
No,
it's not a little ball. It's a football, isn't it?
But
Football.
the world record is 117. And when I say world record, that's our record because I think we're the only ones that play it. So. That is probably the world record.
Honestly, we were obsessed by it, weren't we?
We played it every day, didn't we?
We absolutely loved it, didn't we? It was the best thing. And literally, we almost planned another holiday just so we could play the ball game again. And when we got back to the UK, do you remember we were making phone calls to swimming pools asking if they'd let us play a ball game in their pool?
They wouldn't let us play.
Most of them wouldn't let us.
Who was the best player, do you think?
I think it was me. I think I was the best player.
That's not true. Who was the worst player?
Dave Wilmot.
No, it is the mind reader who can't be named.
Yeah.
I've retitled him.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out, does he get mentioned on this week's podcast? No, he does not get mentioned on this week. You know who we're talking about. The mind reader who can't be named. That's how he should be known. Yeah. He's not mentioned on this week's podcast, so yeah, I'm a happy boy this week.
I'll tell you what's happening, right? So I don't normally go on magic forums, but because when you're away for a week and you're on the beach and stuff like that, there's points where you look over and just everybody's on their mobile phone for a little bit.
Yep.
Right. Just even though you've got loads to chat about, just there's little points, little downtimes through the day. Everyone's on the mobile phone, and I started looking at magic forums a bit. Right, on Facebook. I don't normally go on them. You know, like the Magicians Only one and stuff like that.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. I mean, come on. Do you go on them?
I go on the green one sometimes. The Magic is it Magic Cafe? Yeah. There's like a Grand Illusion section on there, which particularly about 10 years ago, I used to go on quite a lot. There was kind of a lot of interesting, active people on there, but I've looked at it recently.
I was going to say it's a bit 2005, isn't it, to go on the cafe?
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Go on.
I was just going to say, we mentioned the mind reader who can't be named, as everybody knows because he mentions it every day. He's in a show called The Illusionists, and they put a casting call this week. If you didn't see this, I shared it on the Magicians Podcast social media, but if you don't follow us on social media, well, first of all, you should be, but second of all, it means you missed the advert for the Illusionists looking for new magicians. So go and have a look. It's on the Magicians Podcast. It's on the Twitter, and it's on the Facebook page. And they're looking for new acts. Obviously, the show's expanding. Pretty much, a very, very exciting opportunity. Let's be honest, that show is doing amazing things and travelling the world, and all the magicians in it having a great time, and I understand being paid quite well as well. So I've heard, broadcast journalists, keep my ear to the ground.
Better than Champions of Magic?
I've no idea, actually, because I don't know what I get paid, because Strange doesn't tell me. So,
of course, yeah.
So they're going to get hundreds of emails, aren't they? I was thinking about this.
Yeah, I mean, well, they got 300 off me. That'll keep them quiet for a day. And I put it under different names as well, so they think they're getting it from a different person each time, and then they open it up, same link.
Do you know what? There's some really exciting shows going on at the minute. Obviously, we talk about the Illusionists. They're travelling all over the world. Do you remember a few weeks ago I talked about the anonymous source from the inside?
Yes, I do remember this. Apparently, you were going to get secret information every week that we were going to announce.
It dried up pretty quick, didn't it?
Yeah, there's only one, wasn't there?
But he or she was absolutely right about the magician that was developing a show in the shopping mall. That's all been announced, hasn't it now? So that's amazing. Jamie Raven, who has been on this podcast, runner-up of Britain's Got Talent a few years ago, has just announced that he's basically going to have his own venue in the Blue Water Shopping Centre from July the 15th until the 8th of September. I hope those dates are correct. Those are what I saw on the website.
What's he doing? Is he selling vapes or mobile phone covers?
Well, by the sounds of it, it looks like a brilliant thing. It's like a magic shop. It's also like he's doing like magic classes there, but then also he's doing shows every day as well. You've got to go and see this, haven't you? If you're in the area, it's on every single day.
Yeah, it looks really good. I've seen the site. It does look very, very good. Yeah, it looks excellent. That's
amazing. That is absolutely amazing that he's done that. And good luck, Jamie. I hope it goes really, really well. There's also another show which I wanted to mention. My great friend Edward Hilsum and my other friend Sam Wilson, who both used to work in Champions of Magic, are putting on a show called Sensation at the Lighthouse Theatre in Kettering on the 22nd of June. This is a contemporary variety show, and they've booked some amazing acts for this one night only show. Tickets are on sale now, and it's on June the 22nd. If you don't have a gig or you're anywhere near that part of the world on the 22nd of June, I would really recommend you go and see it, because I know that it's going to be really, really special, and I know Ed is going to be doing his Dove Act, which recently won him the Stage Magician of the Year, so you don't often get a chance to see Dove Acts anymore, and there's your chance that night. 22nd of June, Lighthouse Theatre in Kettering. Did you listen to last week's podcast, by the way?
I did, yeah. I thought it was really good. I listened to it when I was away, and because Kevin, I've known Kevin for a long time, and as you said on the podcast, been friends for over 10 years, probably 12 years maybe, and there's some stuff on there I've never heard him say before. So that's always a thing with these podcasts, isn't it? When you think you know somebody and you go, not that I don't need to listen to it, but you go, I'm probably just going to hear stuff I've heard him say in normal conversation.
Yeah.
But I thought some of it was quite inspirational, really. All the stuff about realising early on that about close-up magic was a kind of dead-end job, and it's not going to go anywhere, and as you get older it's only really going to get worse, and as more and more people come into it, prices are getting driven down, and just a box is going to be ticked to get a magician, and you're just that guy, and so to kind of create your own audience. And I've never really heard him talk about it quite like that before, so I thought that was really good, and really interesting, that bit about trying to do tricks that look visually different to everybody else. So when he had the ball pendulum bit and the thing where he mentioned with the rainbow and the sand, do you remember this bit?
Yes.
Yeah, because I wrote an article a few years ago, and it was about Edinburgh Festival really, and reviewers, because one thing that reviewers do is if they see a magic trick like linking rings, even if your routine is completely different, they will just say in reviews, oh yeah, he was doing the same old tricks, familiar tricks. And as a magician, we often think if the routine is different, that's good enough. But Kevin has realised that that's actually not suitable for those type of shows. So he has to make it all visually look different as well. That was really interesting, wasn't it?
It was really, really interesting, and you're absolutely right. It was very, very inspiring. I think Kevin's an amazing person, I really do. Especially, really, when you look at it, you go, sort of only been in magic for like 15 years. He didn't have the childhood that we all had, and he's breaking new ground with things, and the whole Edinburgh Magic Festival thing is amazing, and it's going to happen at Christmas time this year. So if you're anywhere near Edinburgh at Christmas, there's going to be some amazing things on then.
Do you know what? It's partly right. There is a bit not luck, right? But how about this as a thought? Sometimes where you live does affect what you do, doesn't it? Would Kevin have done the Edinburgh Festival had he not have lived in Edinburgh?
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
I remember a lecture from David Penn gave it at the Hull Magicians Circle when I was, I don't know, early 20s maybe, still living in Hull. And one of the questions from the older magicians was, what advice would you give to the younger magicians in this area who are looking to do close-up gigs, but maybe there isn't as many close-up gigs in and around the Hull area? What advice would you give them? And David Penn said, move.
Wow.
Right. Now, and the older magician at the time kind of sort of laughed, and then sort of, I remember he made eyes at me, sort of, he lifted his eyebrows going, oh, well, that was a bit of a cocky answer, right? But I think it's true.
He's right. He is absolutely right.
He's right. He's absolutely right. You go, if there isn't anything for you in your, if you're a magician now that wants to work doing close-up gigs and you're in the middle of nowhere, well, sorry, you ain't going to get any because there's nothing going on.
Yep.
So you've got to move somewhere where there might be something going on. Now, I'm not saying you should definitely move to do close-up gigs because, as we've discussed many times in this podcast, it is not a good career.
Yeah.
But if that is the career you want, then do that. So you got sometimes just where you live. Like, so if you grew up in Vegas, I imagine your outlook on magic is very different to somebody that like grew up in Cumbria.
Yeah. Well, also, I was just thinking about Faye Presto. I mean, the reason that Faye has done Rod Stewart's party and Paul McCartney's party and Sting's party is not only because she's brilliant at close-up magic, but it's also because she's been performing in the middle of Mayfair every Thursday night for the last 35 years at Langan's, just across the street from the Ritz. You go, of course she's met some interesting people and they've said, come to our party. That wouldn't have happened if Faye was performing in the Hungry Horse in, Mansfield, would it? So, yeah, of course, it's all relevant, yeah. Great little point, Hudson, yeah. Go where the interesting things are. And some interesting things will probably happen. Hey, I saw Ghost Stories the other night, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Nyman, it's probably the most popular podcast we've had this series, episode 85 with Andy Nyman. And so he's not in Ghost Stories, but it is at the Lyric in Hammersmith for another week or so. And, I just sort of went along, thought, oh, yeah, I'd like to see it again. I saw it like 10 years ago. Oh, my God, it's absolutely brilliant. What an amazing cast. I mean, if you've seen the movie, it's really, really interesting to see it back on the stage and see these actors kind of make it their own. And, it's just a fantastic night out. And do you know what I really love about Ghost Stories? And amongst all the other things that everyone's talked about a lot, it's just the running time, 80 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
In and out of there, no intermission. Felt like I'd had a night out. There was time for dinner afterwards. Or beforehand because it doesn't start till 8 o'clock. And I just thought it's a real interesting thing about running times. I've been to some long magic shows. I've been in some long magic shows. And I remember talking to Andy Nyman years ago about the Young and Strange show, and he made a really interesting point, which I was like, wow, I've never heard that before. He said that the first half should be 45 minutes and the second half should be 30 minutes. And I was like, really? And he went, yep. Just no filler, just hit them with all the good stuff at the end and just let the tempo and the energy build in 30 minutes and just knock it out the ballpark rather than stretching it out. And when you look at Ghost Stories being 80 minutes, yeah, he's right. The audience loved it. No one was leaving there going, that was a bit short. Everyone was leaving there going, that was brilliant.
I've never seen a show where I've thought, do you know what? That could be 20 minutes longer.
Absolutely right, but you've thought the opposite though, haven't you?
Yeah, of course. And I've seen some of the best shows in the world, right? Like in musicals, Les Mis,
brilliant.
Hamilton,
Les Mis. Let's mention Les Mis again, though. That's the best one.
Mean Girls. Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Like the big four, right? The big four. Like the four best musicals, right? And even though I actually do love Mean Girls and Legally Blonde, so that's only half a joke. But I've never thought, that could be longer, right? They always could be shorter. Although one, which was also the same length, is Six the Musical, and that's currently in the West End, and that's the same thing. I was expecting like a 2-hour thing or 2.5 hours interval. Got there, same thing. It's like 80 minutes all the way through.
I loved it.
What a treat.
Yep, I think
what a treat.
You know, it's all about the modern world and the fact that people have shorter attention spans, and I just think, you know, I don't know if you're producing, anyone out there is listening to this producing shows, but I think this kind of default thing that we all think a show needs to be 2 hours or 2 hours or longer is just wrong. I think the shorter sometimes the better. Just pack it all in and get rid of all the filler, and people will have just as good of a time. This is a big week here on this podcast, isn't it? Wayne Dobson. I got to tell you this.
They're all big from now on, right? So
I mean,
from now on,
yeah,
they're all this is where it kicks off. I mean, no offense to Kevin, but this is where it kicks off now with the big names.
So you know the list of names that are coming up. So first of all, I'm going to make an announcement, which is we always make a series of 24 episodes, which means because of the Edinburgh special, it made the numbers a bit weird, but it means this series should end on episode 97. It is not going to end on episode 97. We're going to go to episode 100.
What?
Yeah, we're going to go to episode 100 just because I think it's a nice way to round it off for the end of the series. But you are right, Hudson. I mentioned it at the end of last week's episode. We're bringing out the big guns now. From here on in, I mean, this every week from now until episode 100 is a huge episode.
Can I guess? Can I guess who episode 100 is?
Go on, guess.
Is it Paul Gordon coming back again for more stories from the sea?
No, it's not. None of the guests that are coming up have been on the podcast before. They're all brand new.
Oh, right, okay.
Honestly, I'm so excited. I keep backing up my computers because I'm so worried I'm going to lose them. I keep backing up the files. I've been sending them to friends going, can you just save this in case someone burglars my house? And
do you want me to leave them in Hull for a bit?
No, not a good idea. That's a good callback to last week. Well done, Hudson. That was very good.
People have to listen to last week's episode to get that reference.
So listen, Wayne is obviously a living legend in magic. I have had an absolute nightmare making this podcast. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, but we persevered and we got there in the end. The first time when I drove to Wayne's house, he lives 2 hours from where I do. I broke down on the way, 7 minutes from his front door. That whole day was written off. I had to get a recovery truck and everything and go back home. I went back a couple of weeks later. We recorded the podcast. As I said, I've made nearly 100 of these. Never had a problem. Sure enough, I had a technical problem. It wasn't usable, the file. So that was a waste of time. What you are about to listen to is attempt number 3. And this one is all good. It's all worked out. Wayne, he's just Wayne, isn't he? He's cheeky and mischievous, and he's got an amazing story that's got the biggest highs and the biggest lows. And it's just an absolute honour for me to have him on this podcast. He, watched him when I was a kid, and it's a big day for the podcast. So as are the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, he was one of the he was so younger people might not sort of really know about Wayne because they might sort of just see him as the guy that releases a few tricks at magic conventions, and they might never really seen him in his heyday. People that have got into magic now through Dynamo or Shin Lim or whatever. They probably don't realise how brilliant he was. But I remember when that series came out, Kind of Magic, it was him and Daniels as like the main two, and I think we all thought he's going to overtake Daniels. He's going to be the biggest magic star in the UK, and my style has certainly been encouraged by Daniels and Dobson. That idea of stand-up comedy magic, that is the way to do it, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. And I remember I loved all the little skit things they used to do as well. I once did when he did like the Sam Spade and stuff like that. I remember at drama, one of the things that I did was I wrote my own Sam Spade magic sketch.
That's brilliant.
And it was all, I think I might have used like 1 or 2 jokes or something, but I remember I wrote all the rest of it myself, and it was all stuff when you were 15, going, I'm on a case, and I was stood on a suitcase, and then went, but don't worry, I've got a lead, and I lit some flash paper, and I produced a dog lead. And you go, actually, that's not bad.
Sounds better than your current act, to be honest.
Brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, it is, yeah, it's brilliant. But you go, but that was all inspired from watching those Wayne Dobson shows, when I was a kid. So, amazing. So, I can't wait to listen to this.
And there's so much love for Wayne. When I announced he was on the podcast earlier this week, there was just a lot of love for him, obviously. And, he's a living legend. And he's here on the Magicians podcast. Here he is then, the one and only Mr. Wayne Dobson. So this is take 3, isn't it?
Eventually, yeah.
This is the third time we've attempted to record this podcast. Actually, the first time we didn't get to record it because my car broke down. Second time I came, we did record it, but then there was all technical problems with it. And so this is take 3. Yeah. I've double-checked and triple-checked everything, and we are all good. So Here we go. Wayne Dobson, welcome to the Magicians podcast. How are you?
I've lost my voice. No, I'm fine. Let me first of all apologise for my speech. This is due to vodka. But apart from my legs and hands, my memory, fortunate for you, is 100%.
Brilliant news. That's what I want today. I want all of your memories.
Touch wood. Come in.
This is a real honour for me to have you on this podcast and to sit down with you and talk to you. I've followed you since I was a kid, and watched you on TV and saw you live and saw your lecture at the Home Counties Magic Society when I was a kid. Like, it's just, you've been a constant part of my life, so to have you on here was an absolute must, and that's why we've tried over and over again to do it, and we've finally done it, hopefully. So providing this does record, we're all good. Actually, I just want to start completely out of left field. I saw on your social media earlier today, you had an amazing day yesterday, didn't you?
I was at the Twins FX, and they've got a lot of my old illusions.
Yeah.
And it was quite emotional seeing them still in great condition 30 years later.
It's fantastic, because they were on the podcast a few weeks ago, and so I went down to their place in Dorset as well, and they told me then how they love collecting your old props, basically, and they've got a lot of branding as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they're great people.
Well, so tell us, what have they got of yours? What are some of the things?
They've got the folding shadow illusion, which is a fantastic illusion. Jim Steinmeier illusion that nobody seems to be doing. They've got my disembodied princess and my slicer, and they've got the table with the living head and a couple of other bits as well.
Yeah. How does it make you feel to see these props so many years after you?
I love it, the fact that they're still around.
Yeah, that someone's got them who loves them.
I never knew if it was that important.
Well, so we'll get to the illusions and stuff, obviously, later on. There's an amazing story, isn't there, attached to you and Nigel Lithgow going over to America and ordering all these amazing things.
Yeah, well, when I first started, the illusions were very alien to me, and there was never one for performing illusions, because I was not that type of Captain Fantastic.
Yeah.
And Russ Stevens suggested that I should be the box jumper, which I did. Well, his exact words were, "Wayne, why don't you get in the box, stay outside for 2 minutes, let the girls do all the work, you come out and get all the fucking credit." When you have some of that, yeah.
That's great, wasn't it? Yeah, it gave a nice sort of interlude to what you were doing and everything. Yeah. Let's go back way before that day, though. Let's go all the way back. One of the things I was desperate to talk to you about when we agreed to do this podcast was he's been a constant through all of these podcast series, and he's a beloved character who I sadly never got to meet, but I I love hearing stories about him was Ken Brook. You used to used to go to his magic shop. He's a big part of your early career, wasn't he?
Wardour Street. I went to his place from a recommendation of Roy Johnson, and I went to Ken's, and I remember obviously the egg bag was a thing I loved, but it was okay. But then I saw Ken do the Malini egg bag, and I thought, that's different to mine. But it wasn't. It was just what it was. Different, being Ken's hands was superb. But in Ken Brook's place, I used to get characters like Ricky J, Fred Capps, all that. But I remember the first time I went in there, and I was sat there on my own, and Ken was in the back, and the door opened. This big, tall guy walked in, and I recognised him from telly as Tommy Cooper. Right, and I almost started laughing straight the way I saw him, because there's something about his face made you laugh. And he looked at me and went, alright. I went, yeah, I'm fine. He went, can I just sit down? I went, yeah. But I felt like he was taking the piss. And he went to me, he said, don't know where my wife is. She's very late. I went, alright. I thought, which I thought was quite a random thing to say. He said, she's very late. She'll be here in a minute, but don't swear. She hates swearing. I said, I won't swear. He went, don't swear. She's really religious. I went, I won't swear. About 5 minutes went by. I went, don't know where she is. Don't swear. Don't swear. I went, no, now I'm really laughing. Don't swear. I went, no, I won't. Just then the door opened, and his wife come in. He stood up and he went, where the fuck have you been? But I remember when I used to go to Ken's, when I got to know him really well, he used to have a partner called Frank Farrow, and Frank used to work in the back room. And when I went in, eventually Ken give me the latest trick. He go, here, put that in your pocket. Don't tell Frank. Just keep it yourself. I went, alright. But half an hour later, Ken would go out for coffee, and then Frank had come in, and he'd give me the same trick. He'd go, here, put that in your pocket. Don't tell Ken. So I used to go home and sell one.
You're a businessman. That's absolutely brilliant. Let's go back to when you were first turned. How did you first turn professional?
Well, I used to work in a sock factory. No real big aspirations. And I was working semi-pro. And then Roy Johnson says to me, you've got to go professional. Give it a go. And that was it. I just went, okay. And I went away and did well. An agent offered me some work. Had 2 weeks work. A week in the northeast and a week in Scotland. I thought it was brilliant, so I went away, did them 2 weeks. I came back and I got no more work. Thought, what am I going to do now? So I hustled around and got more gigs, and just from there really. I was 21.
And what was in the act at that sort of, were you already doing the stuff that we know you for, the Vent Act, or did that come later?
No, I was opening with, do you remember the Chinese Compass?
Yes.
Bilbo and Christopher. I was doing note in banana, linking rings, bongos, bloom, I remember the flowers on the head, and cotton restore rope, stretching rope, loads of props, and eventually I cut all the props down to just work from my pockets, because I didn't like the idea of anybody setting my stuff on stage, only the mic and the stand.
There's no way to cheat it, is there, Wayne? The only way you get good is just to do it over and over and over again.
Over and over again, yeah. And walking on stage, it was a big decision for me to drop quite important routines just to accommodate my pockets. So I dropped the note in banana, which was a great trick for me, but I had to go.
Yeah. I'm just want to sort of jump ahead. I'm in your home here, and I'm looking at a picture of a letter from Kensington Palace on the wall from Prince Charles, dated the 21st of December 1990, of them saying, "Thanks very much for coming, and we have absolutely no idea how you did it." I don't even know this story. Can you tell this story? What was this?
That was for the Princess Trust. I did the first half. Shirley Bassey did the second half. And it was great because after the show, they had a private party for some A-list film stars, me, Shirley Bassey, Charles and Diana. And I had about a 15-minute one-to-one conversation with Diana. And I know the word stunning is used very flippantly nowadays, but she was stunning and more.
Did she tell you not to swear when Prince Charles comes in the room? Or what was it? Can you tell us any of the content of that conversation? She fascinates people. She still fascinates me.
She was talking about my star sign and just general nice, normal things.
You did some really interesting things. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, which I've never spoken to anyone else about on this, is you did Through the Keyhole. You let some people in your house.
Yeah.
What's the process of that? How was it to do a TV show like that?
They filmed the coming in the house first, but I'll never forget because I used to keep macaws, and they don't speak very much macaws, not like parrots. They do say the odd word, but this one always used to say hello, right? And anyway, I was at the house and you have to be quiet to go action, and Lloyd Grossman came in and went, "Who lives in a house like this?" One of the parrots went, "Hello."
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Let's talk about, I think probably it's fair to say even to this day, your most famous routine is your vent routine.
Yeah.
Put you on the map, didn't it, when you did
You
it with...
said that without moving your lips.
I did. It's when I met Paul Zerdin at the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
He gave me a little training course. Talk to me about the inspirations for that and the process of working that in. Was it always two guys?
No. Dennis Spicer, a really old vent, used to do a thing where he got a person to squeeze their wrist, they'd open and close their mouth. But I was in the northeast one night doing my act, and I must have subconsciously thought of what he did. I got this guy up and he said, and I vented in the high voice when I asked him a question, "Yes," and he got a laugh, and I thought, oh. And the next night I put more in and more, and I was doing the routine for about 2 months with just a high voice. Then I put the deep voice in, then it became sort of more and more and more. And I mean, when I did it on the Raw Variety, I was probably doing it about 8 years by then.
Wow, so it's well worked.
And it was believe it or not, even though it was the main part of the act, and everybody thought it was a massive part of the act, the actual routine from start to finish was only 8 minutes.
Wow, okay. It's amazing to watch it, isn't it? This incredible routine that literally put you on the map overnight.
Oh, it was my meal ticket. I remember I did the raw variety. My fee before the raw variety was £500 per night. The raw variety went out, and literally the next day my fee went to 5,000.
Wow, literally from
Overnight.
£500 to £5,000 overnight.
Overnight.
And were you just as busy?
That's unbelievably busy.
Wow. Is this the thing that got you your real break on TV to a point where you were going to have your own TV series as well, or was there something else in between?
I think it must have helped. It was a routine I just put in everywhere. I mean, people say, I hear so often people say, oh, you've got to do new material all the time. But I did that event routine probably 20 times on TV.
Really?
I kept doing it, and you'll notice all the best pros, they always do their signature piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about the process of you getting that first TV series. I mean, that's the dream, right? That's the thing all magicians hope for. That you kind of, certainly back then, you'd know it was the thing that was going to launch you to the next level.
Yeah.
How did the TV show come about?
Well, I was doing Freddie Sitar show for about 3 or 4 years, and then I did a guest appearance on the Joe Longthorne series. And whilst I was doing that, Central TV said to me, we'd like you to do your own thing. And that was it.
Wow.
Really.
And so immediately, was it, okay, what have you got? What material do you have? Or did you have the conversation and say, well, we're going to need to buy some more magic? Or
at the time, I just had it all in my head, but then I got Page involved, and Russ Stevens, and we just, I don't know, it was a bit like you just start coming up with stuff every week. But it does eat material, no doubt, you know. But I remember when my series was commissioned, Nigel Lithgow said, we'll go to the States. And we went to the States and went around all these illusion shops like Mendoza, John Gorn, and I basically had a open checkbook.
it's amazing.
And just to say, oh, I love that. No, do you want that? Yeah, I love that, yeah. It's just like unbelievable.
One of the stories I've heard from all the amazing props that you had that were bought for you on that series. First of all, I've heard a thing that you got to keep them after, didn't you?
I did.
How did you manage that? How did you manage to get...
Because TV studios, storage was a major problem for them, and expensive. So because everything was made for me, they didn't really fit anybody else. Or I made out they didn't fit anybody else. So I used to offer them a stupid amount of money for a particular prop. And I bought everything. I think it was just, a lot of it was, I think, ego, because I didn't want anybody else to have them.
Yeah, of course. Talk to me about the David Mendoza pyramid. I heard a story once that when it arrived, you didn't fit.
Correct. I remember I went to Mendoza. I said, I want this pyramid type thing. I think I'd seen an illusionist called Princess Tenko do some with the pyramid, but the sides never opened like mine. And I said to Mendo, that's what I want.
It was an appearance for you, wasn't it? It was an opening. It was an empty pyramid
Yeah.
that the doors would all open,
Yeah.
I assume electronically.
Yeah.
Some beautiful little lights would come on, the
Yeah.
doors would close,
Yeah.
and then it would light up inside and you would
Oh, it
magically
was
appear.
fantastic.
It was a beautiful prop.
Yeah. And when it arrived,
£25,000, I heard, right?
correct.
In what year was this? 1991, something like
Yeah,
that.
91, yeah.
So
Yeah, and when it arrived, me and Russ used to be set all the props up, and I opened the base, got in it, and I just didn't fit. I didn't, and I said to Russ, the producer's gonna go ape. I don't fit. Why don't I fit? And I must have sat there for an hour, and then eventually I tilted my head to one side or whatever I did, back I was in.
yeah.
And that was fine then, yeah.
What some of your the TV series, the 3 series that you made, they've all kind of appeared on YouTube over the last few
Yeah.
months. What are some of your favourite routines from the TV series that maybe some of the listeners can look up?
Astro was always my favourite illusion, but the one I really loved was, do you remember the time machine thing?
Which is the $1 Million Mystery,
Or the
the
passage of time.
the
yeah.
mirror tunnel. Yes.
I loved it because when it was built for me in the studio, I stood there looking and just couldn't see
It's amazing.
how it was working, and I was amazed. And all day long my dresser was with me, and he had no idea how it was being done. And then somebody put a finger mark on the mirror, and one of the prop guys went up and cleaned it off. And he went, oh.
What are your memories of working with Pat Page? Do you have any? Are there any
Brilliant.
stories that spring to mind? He's a legendary character, isn't he?
I mean, the good thing about Pat was he never used to get uptight. He always used to make me laugh, always fry my brain, and a fantastic diplomat, and always had 3 methods for doing any particular trick. But I remember the Alistair Witchell stuff I used to do. Well, I was filming one day, and we never used to have an audience for that, right? And there was one particular bit of script in the patter that had a sexual connotation. It didn't, but we took it that way, right? And whenever I was doing it, I started laughing, right? And then I got myself together after about 18 takes, and I was like, you've got to get this together. But I was actually crying. And the more it was stupid, it was only one word. And the more I tried, the more it was getting worse. And I just got it, I knew this time I was going to get it together. I was just getting to the bit, and as I got to the bit, I saw Pat Page in my eye line, and he had the thick rimmed glasses on. He was looking at me over his glasses, so to say, don't laugh, and that made me laugh. And he started, and I remember 32 takes we took of that.
Amazing. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was, I know that you've worked very closely over the last several months on your autobiography.
Yeah, I have, yes.
And I've been very lucky and very fortunate. I've been able to have a sneak peek of it.
Yeah.
And I've been reading it this past couple of weeks. And go through. I mean, it really is there's nothing held back in this book, is there?
No.
It's everything from marriages
Oh.
to money to your rivalry with other magicians at the
Yeah.
peak of your.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to know. I think when people read this book, they're gonna learn a lot about you they've never found out about you before. But why have you decided to write such a detailed book about your personal life as well as your professional life?
I've been writing it on and off for 20 years, and this is for general public as well, not just magicians. But, you know, I'm in my wheelchair at, I'm 62 years old, and I've got nothing to hide anymore, so I just decided to write all my everything down, everything. I've got Bob Gill editing it for me, and he's drawing stuff out of me that I forgot about. Yeah.
Yeah. When is the book due to be out? Do you know yet?
Hopefully
Christmas time. Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff I've read about it is it's difficult to read, some of it, actually.
Yeah.
There's also, of course, lots of very funny stories in it and everything. One of the bits that I found really interesting is the whole bit towards the end of the book where you talk about other magicians, your rivalries with other magicians, particularly Paul Daniels, and some run-ins you had with David Copperfield and things like that. When I read the book, one of the things I clock is, although there was perhaps this rivalry at the time, actually there's actually a bit of love for you for these characters, isn't there?
Yeah.
And an enormous amount of respect as well. Was that apparent at the time during the early 90s, or is that just something that's come in the last few years?
I was always very respectful of them. I knew I used to wind them up just because I was like the new kid on the block. So, but I still had respect. But I got more respect for them now, I think, because, well, I was just a professional. Differences.
Yeah, of course. One of the things you very kindly agreed to talk about when we agreed to do this interview, in fact, you kind of almost insisted you wanted to touch on, was obviously everyone knows about your multiple sclerosis and the thing you deal with day to day.
Yeah.
If you're happy to share the story, I obviously would love to hear it, and I'm sure the listeners will be into just the process, because there was something quite frightening that happened, wasn't there, right at the very beginning, which was that you were kind of told you might have it at a very critical point in your career where things were just starting to really rock and roll for you.
It was
do you want to share the story?
It was almost like, do you want the good news or the bad news? And the bad news was I got MS. The good news was I was doing the Royal Variety the week after. So I had all that to contend with. My TV show, everything, all with this seed planted in my mind that I got MS.
How intrusive were the newspapers around then? Were you trying to hide the news for a long time? Or?
The newspapers were okay, but then rumours got out that I was a cocaine addict or I was drinking, my speech being... So all those things made me say... I came out with it eventually.
So I've got it right here, actually, which is the Daily Mirror from January the 11th, 1996, My Secret MS Hell by TV magician Wayne Dobson. So, first of all, did you screw him for a lot of money for this interview? I hope you did.
I never got paid for it.
Never did, but...
although the management I was with at the time makes me wonder if there was not something floating about that I didn't know about. Yeah.
Did this, ultimately putting this out like this, actually make your life a lot easier, though?
Made my life a lot easier, but not my career. I mean, I think once that happens, people tend to, I don't know, I'm disabled, that's it. You know? But it made me feel better inside. So I was just hiding it for so long.
There were some incredibly brilliant things that you did to extend your career as long as possible, weren't there? The fact that, first of all, obviously you started to develop some magic that was kind of more hands-off. And also you put the girls, the girls started doing your illusions in the show, because you did those 4 Sundays at the Shaftesbury, didn't you? The Lyric, the Lyric Theatre. And that was around the time then you... Tell me the process of kind of how you came up with the idea of you couldn't do the illusions anymore, so you're going to put the girls...
I put the girls in the illusions, and I went back to doing what I was known for, really, my small stuff, and I used to sit down, and then I remember, and I was still doing shows, for a few years, and then about maybe 10 years ago, I did a show in Denver. It was a convention, but the gala show was for lay people as well. And I had the most brilliant show. Everything went so well. And I came off stage that night and I sat in my dressing room and I thought, that's it, no more. I thought I want to remember my last performance as being a good one.
Yeah.
And it was a good one, and that's why I don't really appear on YouTube now, because I only want people to remember me in my prime. I don't want them to see me not as good anymore or whatever.
Sure.
So, and that's why I said no more. So I never did another public show since. I still do conventions because magicians are like family to me. So.
And you're viewed like that to them, I think it's fair to say.
Hopefully.
As well. Talk to me about the wonderful Saturday show you do at Blackpool every year. Is it fair to say it's the highlight of your year doing the Wayne Dobson Friends show?
Without, I love it, yeah. And I mean, every year this year, the queue from like the door that goes outside the Winter Gardens is quite overwhelming. You know?
Yeah. Would you be so kind as to share what I thought was the funniest thing? Well, definitely I heard that weekend, maybe the funniest thing I've heard all year. The story of you winding up Russ Stevens. I will say no more, but maybe you could just reveal.
Well, Russ had a chat with me on stage, and he brought up this story about 30 years ago. What happened was I did the impaled illusion.
Which is the illusion where you balance on a sword,
Yeah.
and then they spin you around on the sword, and you drop down
Yeah.
through the sword, and the sword comes through your stomach. Yeah.
And I was doing that as a guest. And Nigel Lithgow wanted to direct it very similar to the way Copperfield directed it. Well, it was the same, actually. Right. And Russ said, "This is totally wrong." And I went, "I know, but I want a TV series, and I ain't gonna jeopardise that." And Russ said, "I don't want any part of this." I went, "Okay, no problem." Then about it went out and the shit hit the fan. Copperfield got angry and all that, and 2 weeks later I was appearing in horrors in Lake Tahoe.
Oh, it's like a casino show
Yeah.
in America. Yeah.
And David Copperfield had appeared there the week before,
Oh, okay.
and he'd left some signposters in the dressing room.
Some sign posters like advertising the show. Yeah.
Oh no, they were big proper posters.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So I got hold of one and I wrote on it, "Russ Stevens, I know you're the one." "I know you're the one that's stealing my illusions. Next time you're in America, you're a dead man." Signed David Copperfield, right? So I posted it to him.
You posted it to Russ.
Yeah, and I got home and he rang me and he said, and he came around and went, "Wayne, I've had a post for Copperfield." And he's really not happy. I went to him and he said, "He's giving me a death threat." And I went, "Oh." The more he told me, the more I started laughing. But the more I laughed, the angrier Russ got. He was mortified. He was almost suicidal. Right? And I thought, I can't tell him. He'll get really so angry with me. And I thought, I'll tell him about a week. Well, a week went by, I still didn't tell him. 2 weeks, didn't tell him. Then I just forgot all about it. until 30 years later, you brought the story up, and I went, Ross, I've got a confession to make. What's that? I went, it was me that sent the poster. Well, I tell you, he was speechless.
His face when you say, Russ, I've got a confession. I've never seen anything. I've never seen Russ look like it before. It's just absolutely brilliant.
Unreal.
Destined to break in, I found my way in. Now ain't nobody gonna take it. 'Cause the go-go
The Magicians Podcast, brought to you in association with the Magic Circle, the world's premier magical society. Are you ready to join the world's most exclusive magic club? Visit themagiccircle.co.uk to find out more.
Gigi-O, free for 30 days. Be a pro, get Gigi-O.
Pete Hathaway says his clients regularly tell him how impressive and efficient his booking system is. What's he talking about? Well, Gigio, of course. Top professional magicians love using Gigio to manage their bookings and admin. It's an easy-to-use web-based software that takes care of your inquiries, contracts, invoices, payments, and reports. You can generate professional PDF contracts in seconds and allow your clients to agree them online quickly and conveniently. It will even automatically update the diary on your phone. Read what other magicians say about Gigio and take a free 30-day trial right now at getgigio.com. Getgigio is spelled GetGigio.com.
Whether you're new to magic or a seasoned professional, Alakazam Magic are here to help. Alakazam have been supplying magic to magicians for well over 20 years. Not only do we carry all the latest and greatest magic tricks, books, and DVDs, but we also manufacture one of the finest ranges of magic tricks in the world. The Alakazam name is synonymous with great customer service, educated advice, and honesty. So if you're shopping for new magic, make sure you check out our website, www.alakazam.co.uk, or pay a visit to our fully stocked shop.
Without a doubt, one of the most exciting products that Alakazam have available at the moment is the Alakazam Online Magic Academy. And the great news is, because you are a podcast listener, you can receive 20% off your subscription. Simply enter the code MP20 at the checkout and you'll receive 20% off. This is a fantastic new way of learning magic. Whether you are brand new to this wonderful hobby or you're a full-time professional, every single month there is brand new content and a fantastic community building up online for you to enjoy. Take a look at the Alakazam Online Magic Academy right now.
destined to break in, I found my way in. Now ain't nobody.
Now, when I came here last time,
Yeah.
you showed me a trick
Yeah.
that absolutely fried me. I could not believe what was happening, and the effect was this: you got me to, you put a prediction on the table, a playing card in a glass box that I could see.
Yeah.
You got me to choose a deck of cards. I checked it, I shuffled it, I spread the cards on the table, checked they were all different. Then you got me to spell my lucky card.
Yeah.
I did all that. I turned it over. It's the 4 of clubs.
Yeah.
I opened the prediction. It's the 4 of clubs. I could not even begin to understand how it worked.
It was totally hands off.
Yeah, and this was the thing, and we talked about it last time. It just made me go, oh my God, we're all making this terrible mistake of thinking that the more hands-on we are, the more showy we are, the better the magic is. No, completely wrong. Actually, being more hands-off is what makes it more powerful. Would you agree?
I think not totally hands off, but occasionally do the odd thing hands off. And that routine has been my signature piece for years. I mean, you've been doing it now, haven't you?
I've been playing. Well, there'll be people listening to this that I've showed it to over the last few weeks, and I've been having. It's so much fun to learn. There's another trick, a Michael Vincent trick called the Intuitive Speller, which I absolutely just love playing with all the time. It's a similar kind of thing where you can just play with it by yourself. And this lucky card was exactly the same experience where I just kept doing it over and over again.
It's addictive, isn't it?
It's absolutely addictive. And so I would urge anyone who hasn't seen it to, next time you see Wayne at a convention, pop over to the dealer stand and have a look, or if you bump into Wayne, I'm sure we'll be able to do it for you. Absolutely brilliant. Talk to me a little bit about, obviously, the way you were forced to stop using your hands, but
Yes.
actually how it, made your creative juices work in a different way.
Well, my first thing was I lost the use of my right hand, so I started to do stuff one-handed. Then the left hand went. I mean, this is not like overnight, it happens gradual over time. And then I started doing stuff hands off. I was taking tricks I loved, or plots, or themes, stripping them down to the bare minimum, and building from there on what I could do. And I was finding stuff was getting really strong.
Yeah, amazing. Tell me, Wayne, if you were starting again now, how would you go about it? If you still wanted to be like you were a star, a household name, and you wanted to be touring around doing your own show, how, in today's world, how would you go about it?
I don't know. I mean, I see magic on TV now, and to me, a lot of the time, it ain't about the performer. It's about the trick, and the performer is not as important. And I like to think that I was Wayne Dobson first and foremost, and the trick was secondary. So, and I'd still do that now. I mean, I look at my shows, they're 30 years old, and apart from the clothes, I don't think they're that out of date.
I agree, yeah. I do agree. Are there any magicians that are around today that you love watching?
I love watching Darren Brown. He is my absolute favourite because he's just such a great performer. I like Dynamo. I love Jack Dobson, David Williamson, Paul DeBeck. Watch out for him.
Yeah. And he's in The Illusionist now.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the West End in the summer. It's amazing.
And also one of my favourite magicians is Danny Garcia.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
It's so pure. And my favourite who used to be was Ricky Jay.
Yeah.
I loved Ricky Jay. Michael Fitch I like.
Yeah. So your business now, it's a brilliant magic shop which you run with your partner Mike, who's stood behind us here. And what are some of your favourite tricks that you've put out over the years through that?
Gosh, I've put out quite a few really.
I love the domino.
Yeah.
I really love the domino trick.
Really spot on.
Yeah.
Key is one of my favourites.
Yeah. And Mike, can we bring you into the interview a little
Yeah,
bit, if
sure.
that's all right? Yeah, Mike Sullivan's here, and I just wonder if you could just talk to us of what it's like working with Wayne, basically. I know it's hard because he's sat here, but you know...
blow smoke up his
You've
arse.
told me some great stuff, actually, over the last month or so while we've been trying to get this recording, and just what a delight when he's still... and how his brain works. When
I've no idea. I've said this a million times, I say it again. The real magic is the way he comes up with these tricks. We go through lots and lots of material. Wayne is a powerhouse. He will bring out and he will come up with a new trick virtually every day. So it's 365 tricks a year. Some of them don't make it for one reason or another.
Normally because they're crap.
I didn't say that. But 9 times out of 10, the tricks are commercial. They're workers. I mean, this is the beauty of it. Every trick that Wayne does is simple. Simplicity is the key to a good magic trick, because you don't want to confuse your audiences. To me, that's the real magic. I mean, I have no idea. I'm not a creator as such, in inverted commas. I've only done probably 2 tricks in my whole life that I've come up with. But I need props. I need to have things in my hands. I need to be able to manipulate things physically. Wayne doesn't need this. He goes to bed at night. He tells me that he's up till 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and by 12 o'clock midday the next day, he's got the prop, he's got the method, he's got the routine, and if he could come up with it, the artwork to put it on the finished package. That's how good he is, and to me, that's the magic.
Yeah, I know you guys would really something you haven't done, but I think you'd love to go to America and sort of lecture over there. And
a few years back, Wayne did a conversation with Jeff McBride at Magic Live, and it went an absolute storm. And we would love to go over and lecture. We're going over in October to Genie.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll be able to
We're
get
doing a couple of lectures.
couple of lectures in Florida and Tampa.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to that. So if you're in the area, listeners, sorry, it'd be lovely to see you. But we're doing a lecture tour here in the UK. We're just in the processes of sort of sorting out logistics, because sometimes it's very difficult with Wayne being in a wheelchair. We need to make sure that we've got the right hotels. We've got a base that we can work from, so it does take a bit of time. But holding their clubs, we will be at your doors. So it's fun. It's fun working with Wayne Dobson. Absolute nightmare. No, I'm joking. Absolutely joking. No, it's brilliant. We've never had a crossword, have we, in the 10 years that we've been together?
No.
So
Not until now.
Not until now, yeah.
one of the things I would love to touch on with you is, I know it's been a big part of your life, is Las Vegas. I know you love Vegas.
I do as a chip shop in the Slough.
You talk in your book, which I've read, there's lots and lots of Vegas stories. It's been a big part of your life and career, because you did do the show with Engelbert Humperdinck there, didn't you, back in the day?
I was there for 2 years on and off with Engelbert, and that was all down to Dean Martin at the Palladium. I worked with him, and he said, you should come to Vegas. I'll speak to my management. And I thought, he won't. But he did. And I was there. I remember going to the Dean Martin show in Vegas one night. And I got a night off, and he gave me a shout out in the crowd saying, here's a guy from London. So yeah, I was really fortunate.
Did you ever think about moving to Vegas?
No, I mean, I love it there, but I love coming home.
Do you really?
Yeah. I did get offered quite a bit of work in Vegas if I wanted it, but my TV series was looming at the time, so I wanted to come back and concentrate on that.
When you think back to all of your trips to Vegas over the years, are there any sort of, other than the times you were working there, just shows that you've seen out there, experience you've had, people you've met, have you got any kind of amazing memories from Vegas?
I remember I went to Flamingo Hill one night, went to see a show, and Joseph Gabriel was on that show, and he did the canary, lemon and egg, the best I've ever seen it. It got to the climax of the trick, the music stopped, and it was such a strong theatrical moment when he did it. It's brilliant, but yeah, there were some great times out there. Siegfried and Roy show. I remember the press said to me at the time, they signed a $50 million deal, and they asked me what I thought of it, and I said, yeah, but between two of them.
Double, they've got to split the money. Terrible.
Don't look at me.
Look at your business partner, Mike. You two are splitting the money too. I know all about splitting money too. Now, I've heard a rumour. I consider myself a broadcast journalist, and I've heard a rumour that, although earlier on you mentioned it was the last time you performed in Denver, that actually the public are going to have a chance to see you, and mainly magicians are going to be there too, that you are going to be in the gala show at the Portsmouth Day in November. First of all, is this true?
It is true.
How do you feel about the fact you're going to perform on a stage again?
I'm okay, I mean, because I know that it will be mainly magicians. I don't mind doing it, to be honest. I still love working.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's a good medicine for me.
Do you know what you'll do?
I'll walk on.
Walk on, yeah, that's the first trick.
I shall probably do my echo routine.
I know what I wanted to speak to you about. It's suddenly come back to me.
Go on.
I've heard over the years stories of you being a bit...
You've heard so many things about me.
I have heard a lot about you. One of the things I've heard is that you are quite mischievous in this wheelchair of yours.
Right.
Is it true you drove into a drinks reception table just for the crack?
Probably, yeah. I did, and also I went to Blackpool Magicians Convention, and Joe Pasquale was pushing me around that. And I said to Joe, what I've noticed is when you accidentally clip somebody's ankles, they're always the ones that turn around and say, sorry. And it ain't even their fault. So Joe and I said, shall we see how many sorries we can get? And we went to the toilet and back. I've got 24 sorries. In fact, we've got one guy twice. So, if you're ever anywhere and Joe's pushing me, don't say sorry.
I heard that there was a table set up for a drinks reception with all the champagne glasses on, and you drove full speed into the table, and then you went, people go, Christ, are you alright? And you went, oh, I think I'm alright.
Sounds like him.
That was me. I did an HMV as well. Straight into a CD rack. It's great, isn't it? And people, they're always so forgiving when you're disabled. They go, you're right, you're right.
That's absolutely brilliant.
I love it. Yeah.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to be honest, you had no reason to let me back in a third time, to be honest.
I mean...
But I really appreciate it. And Wayne, honestly, as I said, I absolutely love you to bits. And thanks for everything you've given us.
The next time it will cost you.
Yeah, the fourth time. Rent.
Thanks so much for being on the Magicians Podcast. I really appreciate
my
it.
pleasure.
Thanks. That was the legendary Wayne Dobson, and what an honour it was for me to have him here on the Magicians Podcast. Thank you very much, Wayne, and thank you also, Mike, for arranging the 3 attempts that we had to go through to make this podcast happen. Now listen, that incredible card trick which I talked about, Lucky Card, if you've never seen it, honestly, go and take a look at it. You will not believe this card trick that happens with a borrowed deck of cards that the spectator can shuffle and that the magician never touches. I very rarely talk about actual tricks on this podcast, but you must take a look at it. It's on the D-Trick website. It's only $24.99 and it's the most fun to learn. I'm not exaggerating when I say I've been playing with it for weeks. In fact, I know I've shown lots of you the trick at the Magic Circle, and I've had great fun talking to other magicians about it as well, because there's really just so much that you can play around with it. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because I'm also saying to you that you never touch the cards. It's a unique trick and you will absolutely love it. It's my number 1 recommendation for this series with regards to a single trick. Go and take a look at Wayne Dobson's Lucky Card. That's it for this week. We will be back again, of course, next Friday for another brand new episode of the Magicians Podcast, where I will be talking to a current Las Vegas headliner. You're going to absolutely love it. The finale of this series is just going to get better and better and better every week. I'll see you next Friday. Have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.